Friends, once again, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I welcome you all on this platform. And today's video lecture, we will be discussing about water crisis in Pakistan. At the present time, Pakistan is facing multiple problems. You can name a few like economic crisis, food security crisis, COVID-19 crisis with India over the Kashmir issue, changing of government in Afghanistan, like Taliban is gaining control there, Taliban is coming, pressure from America to bring Taliban on the negotiating table and make them talk with the Afghan government. Such are the challenges that Pakistan and the people of Pakistan government and Pakistan people are facing. Among all these issues, I believe water crisis is a major one and taking the worst shape for the Pakistan. That is going to affect all the people of Pakistan very negatively if not addressed properly. Because Pakistan, there's no doubt, is an agricultural country. 80% of people of Pakistan are being employed on the agriculture. And when the question of agriculture comes, it depends on water. So in this video lecture, we will be discussing what is the crisis, what is the water crisis of Pakistan, how it is going to affect the people of Pakistan, and what solution can be put in place to address this issue. We would be discussing. In the end, we would also highlight the Indus Water Treaty, because this was the treaty by which the water problem between India and Pakistan was resolved by World Bank. So we will be discussing about Indus Water Treaty, and we will also bring in light, does India is in a mood to revoke or to end this treaty, because earlier Narendra Modi of India said that the billet and water cannot go together. So he was threatening Pakistan that he will stop the water of Pakistan. Before I go in detail and present you the video lecture, I would love to ask a question. Who is the Minister of Climate Change Ministry in Pakistan? If you know the correct answer, know me your answer below in comments. If you don't know, in the end of the video lecture, I would be telling you who is the Minister of Climate Change in Pakistan. You will be amazed to know Pakistan was the first country in the world to create climate change ministry. And you have to tell me the name of that minister. This is from Al Jazeera, Pakistan's water crisis. Because this crisis is not only being covered in locally newspapers or channels in Pakistan, that issue is a very grave, and being a grave situation is being covered in different international media. So Al Jazeera says Pakistan's water crisis. That is again a documentary kind, purged of our price, Karachi's water crisis. Because Karachi is a cosmopolitan city, it's a huge kind of city with a huge population, and there's a huge demand of water there. There's a water mafia, container mafia, and even there's a water board, but there's a huge irregulation of the water. Country warned of serious water crisis. In troubled waters, I will have to bring in your mind that most of the material that I have taken for this video is taken from this article, gentlemen, Ali Tokir Sheikh Saab, in troubled waters. If you love to read that article, you can go and search on Google from down. Again, troubled waters ahead. The biggest problem, water problem. Daily Times, Pakistan ongoing water crisis. The situation, or you can say irony of situation, is that Pakistan has abundant water resources as compared to the neighbors. Means we are lucky enough to have abundant resources of water. Like other natural resources, Pakistan has a huge quantity of water, and that can catch up, full of the needs as per of the Pakistani demands, if monitored, if regularized in a proper way. But in coming time, at the present time, Pakistan has become water insecure countries in the region. At the one hand, we have a huge abundant resources of water. On the other situation, we are becoming water insecure countries because of the policies of our government and our neighbor. And this Why we are becoming insecure country is related to the water, because no plans to manage its water insecurity. When at the one hand we have water resources, on the other hand we become water insecure, and on the third stage we do not have a plan to address this grim situation, because we do not have money to build dams to store the water and to utilize in proper way, to make bridges, or the coordination among the provinces. There's a huge trust deficit among the provinces and institutions. Apart from that, that is causing water insecurity in Pakistan is growing with the population. When water is decreasing, population is increasing, definitely there would be a huge water crisis, because huge population, more number of people, huge water consumption, and we do not have a family planning effective program that need to address such a situation of a population. Urbanization, countries are sprawling, when big cities are increasing like Lahore, Faisalabad, Karachi. If the people are settled in their villages, they have their facilities, water would be easily available. But when people are going to the big cities for the better facilities, there would be question of water insecurity, because that city would be lacking enough to cater the need of the water. Such situation that the people of Karachis are facing due to urbanization. And third, climate change. Countries are a kind of late serious about climate change. So much is a big problem, and is contrary, countries are less concerned about the climate change. The Donald Trump, ex-president of America, even consider it is a law. It does not have a faith in it. He didn't believe in the reality of climate change. He considered it as a hoax, and he pulled out America from the climate change, from Paris Climate Agreement, and he said there is no such thing. Overall, Pakistan is the least contributor in climate change, but it is the fifth most affected country in the world due to climate change. So this is also creating many problems, among them water insecurity is such one. So these are the reasons, popular, as I already mentioned, no plants, growing population, urbanization, climate change. Equitable benefit sharing. If proper plan and proper mechanism is implemented, equitable benefiting sharing could be achieved among all the provinces. Even we also observe there is a problem among the provinces regarding the water. They have a problem regarding their, you can say not a problem, but distrust among, especially in Sindh and Punjab province. So if they implement their strategy effectively, that I will be telling in coming part, they can benefit from this. And how can they benefit from this? If they pursue sustainable agriculture with less water. As I earlier told, Pakistan is an agriculture country. 80% of Pakistan population is employed in agriculture sector. But in agriculture, such practices are coming that are consuming the huge water and giving less product. And they are investing in such a crops that only benefit politicians, landlords. Such population like cotton, they are not growing cotton, or such cash crops that benefit the country. Improved, the first thing is that they should focus on the agriculture with modern techniques, taking the less water, because most of the water is being consumed by agriculture. So that should make the policies that agriculture become efficient, agriculture sector become efficient and benefiting in multiple ways. Improve inter-provincial water distribution. As I earlier said, there's a distrust between Sindh and Punjab. Even the tussle is going between Punjab is stopping the water of Sindh, and such comments of distrust coming from the Punjab and Sindh, vice versa. So they all need to come in the council of common interest. They should sit all together and formulate a policy among the provinces to improve inter-provincial water distribution. The third thing is strengthening Indus Water Treaty. The treaty was being concluded between India and Pakistan with the help of World Bank. So World Bank should be brought again in this situation. Even already a World Bank is there, but they need to strengthen. When a couple of months ago, when the India and Pakistan announced that they would be observing ceasefire agreement 2003, there was a meeting of the commissioner of the Pakistan, water commissioner of the Pakistan and India recently, and visiting the different sites of the Indian dams and other. So we need to strengthen the Indus Water Treaty, because that benefit us and also India. Agriculture consumes almost 90% of water. As I earlier said, the agriculture of Pakistan is very thirsty, and most of the abundant water that we have, 90% of the water is being consumed by agriculture. Pakistan's agriculture is very thirsty. As I earlier said, we need to address this situation, and for this we need to get help from China. China is one of the most developed country, and with the help of China we can get better technology, better equipment, and better quality of seed to make Pakistan efficient country in agriculture sector. Taxes on water used for agricultural income. There should be a proposal, or there is a proposal that the huge landlords who has a huge number of the lands, they should be taxed for the water use. As much they are using the water, there should be a taxation on them. This is also can be implemented. As I earlier said, 85 million, you can say 44% of people of Pakistan do not access to the cleaning water. On the one hand, our huge water go to the agriculture, and that is giving not an efficient crop. On the other hand, our 85 million people, you can say 44% of people of Pakistan do not have access to the clean drinking water. Only 4 crops, and as I said, most of the crops that are being grown in Pakistan do not add up to our GDP, and in one way is creating a problem for Pakistan. We use our much water in rice, wheat, sugarcane and cotton. Consume 80% of water, but contribute to our GDP only 5%. 80% of water is being, you can say 80% of water is being used by these 4 crops, and they only add up 5% of our GDP. There's a report of World Bank. There's this poor management of water. Definitely, many times in the last time there was a question in different competitive examination that Pakistan is rich in natural resources but poor in management. So the same has been indicated by World Bank, that says poor management cost about 4% of GDP. If we manage water efficiently, we can save 4% of our GDP and around $12 billion a year. If we manage our water efficiently, we can manage $20 billion daily. It is a damaging story of elite capture. Poor agriculture practices. As I said, we need to address those agriculture practices and make our agriculture efficient, aligned with the modern technology. And with this, via CPAP projects or some other forms of investment, we can ask our partner China to help us. Other thing that is causing water, that is polluting water bodies and depleting groundwater resources. There is no doubt Pakistani people are less caring when they are using water. They use aimlessly, or you can say if they are brushing their teeth for the 3 minutes or 4 minutes, their tape would be on. They won't be bothered to turn off the tape, or the shaving the tape of the water would be keep flowing. Means they are using it aimlessly and without caring. And apart from that, our natural rivers that are coming also are cause of the water, drinking for water, they are also being polluted by mismanagement. So groundwater is also decreasing because of our practices, and we are also polluting water. During last 80 years, water flow to lower Indus basin declined 80%. In last 80 years, the water that is coming in Indus basin, in which 80% of water has been declined, means you can say 80% is a huge in situation. Sindh cries for some equitable water sharing. As I earlier said, there is a problem. There is always problem between Sindh and Punjab. In both provinces there is huge land, and most of the people do agriculture, and their demands are always you can say legal, but what problem is that those demands are not settled with amicable and friendly relation between those two provinces. So there is a need, there should be a council of common interest convened by federal government, and those provinces all should come and sit together and solve the problem, because this is not a matter of the province, this is a matter of the whole Pakistan, and should be solved in that perspective. Like there is a Chashma Jhelum link canal, there is a problem between Punjab and Sindh about Chashma Jhelum canal, Tanusa Panjnad link canal. And they are also asking for revisiting ISRA's mandate to curtail the irrigation authority rule. Sindh is crying about these like problem on Chashma Jhelum link canal, Tanusa Panjnad canal, and ISRA is mandated to curtail the water, because Sindh cries that our water is being controlled by Indus Water Regulatory Authority. Mismanagement in Mangla, there is also mismanagement at Mangla Dam. So water shortages downstream from Sakhar and Kotadi barrage. This all problem is creating water shortages from Sakhar to Kotadi barrage. Those must be solved with amicable way by sitting together. Indus Water Treaty, India and Pakistan concluded the treaty, even though they have adversary relation, but they have somehow maintained this treaty. Even last time when the Pathankot happened, Narendra Modi of India threatened that he would revoke the Indus Water Treaty and he will restore the water of Pakistan. Like I want to bring in a consideration, there are multiple examples in which countries have reconciled and they have solved their differences. Like there is Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, that is a huge dam in Africa that is being built by Egypt has a problem on the river Nile. Ethiopia has built the largest dam, and Egypt is of the view because of this our water will be curtailed, and they have agreed many times, Ethiopians and Egyptians, there would be a kind of they are making agreement that their problem would be sorted out by sharing water details, how much Ethiopia will store the water and then will release in a manner that will not affect Egypt water flow in Nile. So if those two countries can reconcile their differences, Pakistan can. Even Turkish and Armenia, even both are enemy countries. Even recent time when Armenia had a water problem with Azerbaijan, Turkey was a country that helped Azerbaijan via drones to defeat Armenia. Even these two countries have a kind of agreement on their dam. There's a dam between them, and they share their water. They have both like commissioner visiting there, and they have amicable mechanism to solve those water issues between Turkish and Armenia. Indus Water Treaty is a dynamic treaty that need to be maintained between both. For this, they need to bring leaders from like European Union, World Bank. They must be engaged, because India at the present time is hawkish, aggressive, and does not take into account for Pakistan for anything. They took unilateral decision regarding Kashmir by themselves. They took unilateral. They threatened that they will take unilateral decision regarding water. So for this, Pakistan should bring European Union and World Bank to engage India in such situation. Scientific exchanging and data sharing they should do regarding the water. They should change scientific exchange and data sharing between them. Use technical study, geographical studies, like with the satellites. They can use GIS and satellite imagery, how much India's water is storing, how much Pakistan is gaining, and to tell to the world. To develop new narrative on such issues as climate change, we need to bring world community to the climate change that is fast approaching, and definitely is going to hurt the water flow. And about environment, how our environment is being polluted, being destroyed. Trans-border flooding, definitely India and Pakistan need to help each other. If they would be creating a kind of mechanism, how much water is in India, that can kind of flood is going to cause in Pakistan. So if they agree, they can also reduce water flooding and sedimentation to identify new areas of collaboration. So with different things, they can make agreement. Water framework agreement possible based on the European Union Water Statement, Bonn Guidelines, and UN Water Courses Convention. these are the areas on which India and Pakistan can work to solve their water issues, like UN Water Course Convention, Bonn Guidelines, European Water Statement. Definitely this is a ambitious undertaking, but that is also necessary. Pakistan cannot deny, or Pakistan cannot sit aside by looking just merely. Pakistan have to take aggressive diplomacy to pursue the world and the world community about the water problem, and for this they have to bring India on the table for the equitable sharing that India have agreed in Indus Water Treaty, by which India Pakistan got Jhelum, Indus and Chena water share in there. The basin and the rivers have the right to be healthy life, and for this, even though the rivers they have been declined, their water is being declined in downstreaming, they should have a healthy life, because of these rivers we have a life. When they will be destroyed, our life would be destroyed. So that is a humongous problem of Pakistan that is facing water crisis. It is well said many times, the next war won't be war on the oil, because earlier wars were being fought on the oil. The coming war would be fought on the water. So the issue should be resolved by amicable way, by resolving all other alternate issue. But at the present time, India and Pakistan need to sit together and resolve this issue by amicable way. Because both are nuclear countries, they cannot afford a fourth war, and most important, nuclear war. Thank you so much. God bless you all.